So today my video is going to be a little different, despite what's going on in the news. I think it's about corrupt politicians, actually, and I think the Tory party, if there ever be a reason for the king to reside in our country and to have a purpose, you'd be like the walking, talking state of independence, literally. Now, my topic today is going to be about dentists and affordable private dentists that have contracts with the NHS. Now, it's not the NHS's fault. I'm going to state that right off the bat. This has got nothing to do with the NHS. So, my last few days, I've got several abscesses. I've got quite a few going on. I'm in quite a considerable amount of pain. I'm not sleeping very well, and I'm sure that I speak for quite a few other people. Now, I've uncovered quite a lot of stuff, which I'll start to shed some light on this as we go through it. Wow. So we have no regulations on any of these companies that can charge anything they want to fix your mouth, a problem that resided under NHS. Now, it's not the NHS's fault. I need to state this very clearly. Now, if the NHS have pulled out contracts where private dentists have a level of care to have one half of their quota is filled with NHS patients and the other half of the quota is filled with private. You see, what we've got is that they're not taking on any NHS patients at all, and they want people who have either basically have no income or very little income to pay £49 for a first checkup. That's for a first checkup. And then on top of that, I would then need to book an emergency appointment, which will cost me £89. So £49 to start with, plus £89, and then I would need 2 extractions, and that's each extraction is 120 quid. Now, can I ask exactly, Rishi Sunak, whatever you pronounce your name, I can't get my tongue around it, how the hell has that got down a waiting list? Removing it and making it non-existent does not get the waiting list down. And then we've got these poor men and women at the NHS that have to sit in and listen to people whinging about the lack of their care. And I noticed something, that they've got a job, right? And if you don't do what your job tells you to do, you get the sack. So once again, the NHS is held by the scruff. You will do what we tell you, or you lose your job. Now, we've got 111 centres that are overrun with dentists. And bless their hearts, they get the rough of it because people are very snappy because they're in a lot of pain. And it's very hard to communicate with one another, and they genuinely care. And we look at antibiotic resistance, okay? And to keep giving antibiotics for a problem to go away to then come back again, and then we give some more antibiotics. If you want to know why people die of sepsis, and it's a growing problem, it's that much the silent killer, they call it. Well, when you have an abscess, you're constantly swallowing pus, bacteria, okay? And when it gets into your system, you do 2 things. You get loose at the other end or you vomit. But constantly swallowing pus over and over and over again, and your body is starting to thin out. You slowly but surely are getting thinner and your health is getting worse. Now, I'm wondering whether these blood cells that we're releasing into the stomach are not dissolving the bits that are responsible for absorbing nutrients. Plus, with the added looseness and sickness, this is running away effect. Then you start to become starving. And when you become starving, your body is grabbing all of the nutrients that it possibly can in order to keep you alive. I started as a 28 waist size. I was a little bit more than that before this all started. I'm now down, my waist is now 26 inches. You can see the bones on my cheek. I'm not well. Anyway, does it really matter? Probably not, hey Rishi, because you got the waiting lists down. Brushing it under a freaking carpet is not getting something down. I have 13 teeth that need sorting, and actually, because of your wait lists, I've been on a waiting list for up to 10 years, no more than 10 years, and no less than 7. We're gonna go around that. Waiting on a list that when I call it up now, that they say that it was 5 years, I'm no longer on it. It's gone because you're fixing the system, and your fix of the system means that people are paying the NHS tax, and fraud, I might add, Rishi, works both ways. And you'll say you've only got a time limit to sort this out. No, the law must be seen to be equal for government as well as the population that it is trying to enforce it on. So if you think that you can break the law, government, and that if you don't do it within a time limit, it gets, it's over with. Like I had a mayor come into my house, okay, the mayor of Wymondham come into my house and look at all of my inventions and then write it to my landlord and start discussing all of my inventions. Now, if you want to take a look at some other videos, I'll put the links in there, of all the leaks that he was present to, he was in the house at the time. If he spent more time looking at those than he was eyeing up my technology that I've been building, this new technology, perhaps we wouldn't be in the situation that we're in now, but we're in it. And that mayor said that he didn't know whether my stuff, my new inventions, were regulated. So don't tell me you didn't come into my house as a mayor, part electrician, just to snoop through my stuff. And then my inventions were leaked into the papers. Oh yeah, different things under different names, and I've got no way of claiming any of that money back. So to even get money to fix my own teeth, you lot have taken away my very ability to get this. And then what, I should just go and get a job like everybody else? So once again, control Rishi. But no, we're getting back to the dentist here, aren't we? The proudness that you keep saying that you got the waiting list down. This does not get a waiting list down, and I don't understand why we should be catering for Bupa that collapsed, and that you give this all away to your rich friends so that they can just abuse the whole entire system and charge whatever they like. This one charges £49, another one charges £72 that I've called up, and you've got the NHS logo slapped across all of your dentists. So I think that people here should be under the Freedom of Information or under the Act where you can get this information to find out what quotas they have for NHS versus private. And I'm willing to bet that they are secretly not accepting any NHS patients in order to force you to pay this. Now, the NHS are now building something, and once again, it is government. It's not the NHS. The government are controlling our NHS, and they're trying to privatise it. And if you can't see what's coming, well, we'll see. We've got councils, district councils, not districts. No, maybe I'm thinking of it. So let's go where the mayor that comes in snooping and spying on my shit. And no doubt anybody else's as well. So we've got a mayor that is at Breckland Council, not Breckland, no, wrong one. Damn it, South Norfolk Council, there you go. And we got police officers in police stations that whinge to someone, and then they get the old police station knocked down and they get a new police station built. We've got children in schools that are unsafe. They are unfit for humans to even be in. And yet no one can whinge about it. Nothing will be done about it. I just don't understand. Why can't we save the money? Why do we need to build new police stations? Are the police officers living inside these police stations? Are they sharing beds there? Do we need to make it an eco building because the police are saying we are the ones happening to pay the electric on these buildings? Hang on a minute. The last time I checked with my council tax, I'm paying for it, Petra's paying for it, everybody in the UK is paying for it. But are the police taxed? No, I don't think so. So when we start talking about NHS wages here, you couldn't say, we're not going to build the police stations because we think that the NHS deserve more wages. Another interesting point that I want to make as well is that the government have decided to make a new place for people to go and whinge about the NHS. Yeah, that's right. They're putting money into building a new building to pay people a job, to put people in there to take complaints about the lack of NHS dentists. But you don't have the money to build a dentist, hire staff for the NHS. so that on the NHS you can start getting people's teeth and smiles and making people feel confident in their country. No, because we're not all rich like you elites, are we? Do we all have this sort of money sitting around and the cost of living inflating, and I've got to try and bring up a family of children and I've got to find this money just to fix teeth? This is interesting. This is so very bizarre to me that you've got money for all of this stupidity. You've got money for war. You've got money that cause carnage to other families in other countries, that cause death and destruction and misery for many people. We talk about that we haven't got money for this and the cost of living is rising and everything. You have got money for this type of bullshit without a vote? You have money for this, but you don't have money to build new NHS dentists. You've got money to knock down an old hospital, build a new one, but not keep a hospital here and build another hospital there. Oh, that one's got all old technology in it. We can't have that. That would just be so bad. This one's got new technology. We need to just knock this one down. Why would you knock it down? If it works and it is working, I would be seen in this one. I don't mind about the technology. What I care more about, because I'm not shallow, is being treated. It's about expanding my life and my existence and my fellow human beings that I share this planet with. That's what it's about. Why would you knock down a hospital and build another one? Boris? Serious? Now, I have given these inventions, and I've said it multiple times, that what happened to an RV dentist, where we convert RVs that go around town to town and fix people on emergency appointments, and rather than charging this extortionate amount for people that can barely afford to eat or heat their houses, Rishi, there's a problem with you lot at the top. You have no idea what it's like to live this life. I guarantee you, let's swap. Let me try running the country, Rishi. Let's swap. Let's do an exchange, not with students from France and we're going to swap students. No. Rishi, you come and live my life, if you think it's so easy and that you know how to navigate my life for me so easily. You come here and live my life and let me have a go at running the country. Because I guarantee you I will do a better job at it than you will. You've got no ideas. You're lacking in ideas. The whole Tory party just do not have any ideas whatsoever. The rest want to borrow money. Wow, did you borrow money for your war? Are you borrowing money for it? No? Because how many billions have you sent in this? It's just pathetic, really. And all this comes from a buffer zone. A buffer zone. Over a zone where they say that there is a peaceful zone? No, we gotta send some money over there and sort this. This is weird to me. This is absolutely beyond belief, literally. And another thing is that we've got these councils, right, which are dated. They no longer offer council houses. We have antisocial behaviour police team there, which I gotta admit, right, when I got antisocial neighbours from a kid and my mum went through some stuff, some pretty horrific stuff, by the way. The same system that was used then, it was useless, by the way. I'm gonna tell you it like this, yeah? My mum wrote it down, she writ it down, all of the banging, all of the noise, all of the inconsistencies, and it just made her depressed, yeah? Nothing was done, and then one day, my mum lost her shit when our neighbour aimed a car at us. My mum then went and literally physically beat this man. She also then, after she did it, called the police and said, I just beat him, you might as well come and get me. Blah, 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 here's my address. Doosh. And then she was arrested, taken to court. Right? I tell you one thing, her doing that solved the problem much quicker than your system ever did. Fast forward 2 decades later, and I myself find myself in a situation that was very similar. Funny that. Houses are never empty unless there is a reason behind it. And guess what I'm presented with? the exact same system as what was 20 years ago that didn't work. The same thing. You've got to write it down. Therefore, bringing into your mind, it's a misery. It's like such a misery. We call up the environmental health team to come around and check around the place. And they forget to bring their badge on purpose because they are friends with the landlord. And they bent over backwards to help the landlord. Isn't this interesting? You constantly bend over backwards to help the landlord. I would be scrapping the whole of the council based upon all of this. The antisocial behaviour team, you suck. You belong in the police station. Go back to the police station. Not sipping your cups of tea inside a council building that we're now paying to eco out. We're full of bureaucracy. Let's write stuff down. Oh, let's write stuff down. Let's write stuff down. It's bollocks. Let's waste more trees. Let's waste more trees. For what? To stick it in a file somewhere. You've got my care records, yeah? I've been in care and different stuff like that. And you've got my care records, and you get to look at these whenever you feel like it. And they stay on a system until I'm 75 years old? Why? What is the need for this? And you've got to have somewhere to keep all of this data, haven't you? And then you can use this to not do something because of my past, but because of this. It's beyond me why you need that information. So no, I would stop the councils. I literally would. There would be no need for them anymore. You no longer hold council houses. Your antisocial behaviour team is less than adequate. Your environmental health doesn't work. It favours the landlords. Literally, we've got people living in hostile conditions, situations with mould everywhere, and the landlord is using the mould and the problems in order to boot people out because the market's inflated. If you then leave because of the landlord won't fix the problems, he's okay, he's laughing. Because since you were there 8 years ago, the rent was only £400 a month. But in the meantime, the inflation has gone up and the landlord can't lift your rent any more than £25. So he relies on the fact that the mould has a cycle and it starts getting really bad. The council are bought out by them anyway. They just do it all for the landlord, turn a blind eye. When you forget your badge, anything that you collected in that whole time is now inadmissible in court. It can't be taken. You are no different. And you can say anything you want. You got the mayor from the council coming in. No one, I've got children in this. When you see those videos, think of the kids in that we could have been electrocuted. Even my children could have been electrocuted. I made a video stating this, that if my daughter dies, don't resuscitate me. Do not resuscitate me. I was probably at the lowest point of my life happening to say that if you kill my daughter due to a fire because water is pouring into the trip switch where you have the main electrics, and they're saying, the Alan Cross Electricals with Kevin Hearn, the mayor of Wyndham, is saying that it's okay, Reg, it won't do anything. You got water pouring down the side where the light switches are. That's okay. He's more interested in my inventions. All of this because the landlord wants us out because he wants money to up the rent. And then, like he's saying to us, that we should be lucky that we're in this building here. Oh my days, we're out of the frying pan and into the fire, literally. We've got silverfish everywhere, earwigs, ants, and beetles absolutely everywhere because the place is so damp. There's black mould everywhere. And another thing that leads back onto dentists, that when I'm constantly breathing in these spores, okay, and the life cycle of mould is very strange. When it starts to release the spores, it's panicking. The environment is no longer home or good enough home for it. It now needs to create spores and travel elsewhere. It likes wet and it likes warm environments. Your mouth inside a cavity, when you breathe this in through your mouth, gets into your teeth. Now you have a mouth infection, you now have an ulcer, the body is now responding, now you need antibiotics. When you breathe this in constantly and it gets into your lungs, you then start getting repeated chest infections because the spore is trying to find a home inside you. When we look at fungus, fungus is a parasite and we've got this growing risk of losing our lives because of antibiotic resistance. where you take antibiotics, but they're not working. If the immune system fails, and it does, then you need the antibiotics. When the antibiotics fail, you then go over to steroids, but this will start to fail. You know, tuberculosis and different bacterias in the past, history always repeats itself. It's been away for so long because of the invention of antibiotics. But now we've got slack landlords, slack councils, slack governments. And what we've got is we're breathing in all of these particles. Another thing that you don't think about, fungus is a parasite. It grows on your nails, it can grow in your mouth, it grows anywhere it wants, literally. It's taking over. Landlords use this to get you out. Oh, we're not going to really fix it. We'll just come put some paint over it. You know as well as I do, it's not getting rid of the problem. Your stuff starts getting damaged. You're in poor health because of it, constantly on antibiotics. And then your landlord then knows that you'll move out. And then he can charge £840 now because the market inflated. No more do you need to pay the £400 to the landlord. No, his greed now is exacerbated. And you can now pay £840 to him rather than £400. You see, landlord always gets their way. And so did the council are helping them get this. And this comes from a government. This comes from a Tory government that just want to privatise everything. But the thing is another one for you. We had one wheelie bin where we could take our rubbish and throw it all into one bin. They took the bin, the council, took it into a truck and then tipped it out. And then they had to pay people to sort out this rubbish, the recycling they had to sort from the waste products. Well, some clever sausage at the council said, if we give people 2 bins and make it mandatory via fines, forcing them to sort out the rubbish for us, we can make a load of people redundant because we now no longer need to hire any staff to sort the rubbish. We make loads of people redundant in that aspect. And what we do is, do you think that the tax that they saved from making these people redundant because they no longer needed to pay the workers, you sort the rubbish yourself now, do you think they lowered tax? Nah, they didn't. In fact, they upped it 3 times the amount. So, when you cut things back like this, why does the tax not go down to accommodate this? Where is that money going? You see, this is fraud, literally. And this is one level of fraud that I think needs investigating, and it's no time limit, by the way. What you put on the people shall be put back onto you as well. And you see, this is why we need a change in this country. Not Labour, not Conservatives. No. We need a real change in this country. Leadership with brains, not that all fall from a school. Because you all seem to come from this same school, and it seems to be, how can you help the rich? How can you be as corrupted as you can? And how can you save tax but still take tax? So we got this with the dentists. Can't get an NHS dentist. Just cannot. I have not been able to for nearly a decade. Now we've got antibiotics resistance. We've got landlords playing their funny games. And the NHS are the ones that are suffering here. And what happens when you privatise the NHS, which I will not let you do it. I will not let you do it at all. I'm not going to stand back and just lay down whilst this happens and you try and do this in front of us. You lied about Brexit. You lied about the fact that you've got the waiting lists down. Making them non-existent does not get them down. Closing the waiting lists. That's what they've done. They've shut the waiting lists. Completely closed it down. And I asked this dentist lady today that works at this private company, did they stop taking your national insurance by any chance? That's nothing to do with me, she said. Hang on a minute. So them taking tax forced out of your wages for a service that isn't being delivered and you know it, that's nothing to do with you. And she said, no, it's nothing to do with me. That's nothing to do with me. So I asked her whether I could then take £10 a week from her out of her account. And, you know, obviously the response is, what for? Well, does it matter? What does it matter? The government are taking it from you and it doesn't matter, does it? It's not going to the NHS, is it? Sure as shit is it not. I think the NHS should be in control of what their budget and what they do with their budget, and it shouldn't be meddled with. I think the NHS is a staple of Britain. Literally. I know it come from other places beforehand, but it should be the most proudest thing that Brits have. Without it, what do we got? Well, lots of rich, greedy people. Lots of rich, greedy bastards in this world. They just want more money, more money, more money, more money, more, and they don't care. And then, you know, we've got a sick landlord, and we're supposed to feel sorry for him whilst going through all of this. And I'm supposed to will him better. I will not do that, because only you in your mind can make you better. This choice to be greedy, or this choice to take because you want more money, I can't cure that. Only you can cure that. This absolute illegal crap that you do. Nah. You as a landlord have a level of care and duty towards children to make sure that they are safeguarded from risks of fire, risks of electrocution, risks of people breaking in. Never mind how long we didn't have a window for. 2 windows actually. Never mind that. Never mind that, hey? And it's safeguarding children. And now the solicitors that we've got are bought out corrupt. They won't let us take it to court. That's if we let it go to court. Interesting. Now, the solicitor is speaking for the judge as well, that the judge wouldn't care. The judge wouldn't care about Warner's past experiences with children and other things like that. Therefore, that makes you a predator. Oh yes. Oh yes, that makes you a predator towards children, and therefore you will become very dangerous for kids. The fact that their life means nothing to you, because it's money. More money, more money, more money. So, Rishi Sunak, do tell me, this is the best you've got? Tory party as a whole, because remember, you don't like being all tarred with the same brush. Well, it's funny, you all are acting like it. You tell me, is this the best your party has got? This is it. War, more bullshit war, more destruction, more chaos, more carnage. And then everyone might be like, well, let's stop paying our national insurance then. And then when you need a hospital and you're on your deathbed, they will ask you a question before they take you to hospital. Have you got medical insurance? And you say no, and they'll leave you to die at the side of the road. What type of a fucking world is that? What kind of a society is that in this century? What is that? Oh, can you afford to pay this bill? No, I cannot. No, I really cannot. Well, suffer then. What kind of a world is this? And this is one I'm supposed to bring my kids up in. And then you'll say it's happening everywhere. This is the biggest load of rubbish I've heard in my life. I can tell Brits one thing, and yes, dentists, you're not going to like it. And please don't censor me, by the way. Please do not censor my channel, because I'm talking truth. If you took the money for a bus ticket and went to another country, you can get this for practically a fraction of the price. And you can get a holiday. Because I understand it, that most poor people in this country never ever see another nation. Never. They never experience that. Because they can't afford it, with the cost of living and everything else. They just cannot afford it. But, if you've got prices like this, and you've had to wait this long before they've even seen you for your teeth. If you were to put your money together, book in advance with a dentist in another country that will not charge you that much money, you can get a holiday, see another country, and you can pay. You can pay less than this. I think it's like £18 an extraction. It's not much at all. Here, wow, they treat us like we're all rich. And what was the point in leaving the EU? You lied to us. It was all you rich cronies that lied to us. You have been fucking everything up whilst we were in the EU. You were making our lives misery, and then you were blowing smoke towards the EU. Police officers do it. You'll notice them do it. Well, don't moan at us, you know. We're just doing a job. Yeah. And you greedy police officers have thrown your dummies out the pram so many times that you've got this government building new police stations for you. Why should we be harbouring criminals? Why are we giving criminals a nice eco situation? And now, well, how much does that cost us in tax? Nah, if I was leader of this country, we would be making peace with a lot of people, definitely. We would be sharing the torch of any type of technologies that we build. We would share that. That would be shared. Friends, foes, all the way around the world. We'd be making more friends than enemies. We would shut down the councils. No more of an easy ride for you lot. And we would be converting those into dentists. We would be making RV hospitals that can go around and do routine operations in the back of a wagon somewhere that can connect into the grid. This would be very easy to do. We would be going out into space with every single friend that we made. We'd utilize our militaries into doing wonderful things. Not destruction, but creativity. We'd get to space, we would do it. We'd make more food. We would definitely do it. Doesn't matter how. Get enough people working together and get them inspired, and we could convert the whole moon into a greenhouse that could feed the whole entire planet without the problems of disruption, converting fuels from other planets and bringing that back. How much gas? Let's keep drilling from the ground, says Britain. Let's keep drilling from the ground. Let's get more gas from the ground. Any of you seen the other planets out there? You've got a whole planet that is bigger than the Earth, like by 100 times, containing nothing but gas. Once we've used all of our resources on the Earth, well, that's it. How do you make a rocket? How do you get to space? How do we leave? No. Nations and militaries joining together, banding to make a brute force, that whatever we brought back from space, that we would equally share out with all nations on the planet, and the wealth would be shared. All food, all of it. It's going to take a whole entire globe working together in order to achieve this sort of stuff, bit by bit, all doing our little thing. This greed, is this what we're living for? I know this is what most of you elites live for, but it isn't what I live for. This is not what I live for. What is this? To be told what to pay to people who are greedy, who then hold on to this money, and what happens then? You hear the rich here talking about people because there was a car boot. There was a freaking car boot here. And all of the rich people in the shops, right? You all were sitting there moaning about that they closed the road and that you lost money and that the money from Wyndham is being taken out of Wyndham. Interesting. This type of scenario means that the money's going to start to leave out of our country because people are going to go elsewhere to get dental treatment, to get medical treatment, and they're not going to want to come back. If there was ever a time that the king needed to act, it is now. Right now, you need to get out and disembowel Parliament, not because I'm telling you to. Your moral compass should tell you this. Do you want another war? No, I don't think so. Most of the people here don't want it. You know, we got newspapers, and I think that's what Trump was getting at. Some of these newspapers are so dangerous. Look how much they strike the narrative in people to warmonger. What is this? Then getting truth. We're brought up to tell the truth. How many of you in school got told to, you know, when you're in school, how many of you in school were told in the playground that you've got to talk about your differences? You can't go beating each other up. The world would be eyeless and toothless. Eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. You got to sort it out amicably, children. We're grown up with this mentality. And what? Elites are told that if you've got a problem with someone, you send every single ammunition that you've got. Is that it? We're all in this together bullshit. Is that why we got private schools and public schools and the politicians bang on about public schools being the very best that there is? Then send your children to it. Why is there two-tier schools? And paying tax and not paying tax would be the answer. Oh yes, that's what you would want, Tories, isn't it? fully privatised then, wouldn't they? When the people get in uproar and start saying no more payments to the NHS, that's playing into your hands. And the poor NHS have to say it. They can't say anything other than that because they're not allowed to get political. Why is our NHS censored and can't get political when the political is the problem? We got hard-working men and women inside our hospitals, and do you know what? The one thing that makes me proud to be here is the NHS. And you just want to go away and fuck all of that up? Why? Is it because the Queen, the late Queen, got behind that, along with Labour Party? Is that why? Because it was a woman that said it? Is that it? Because we're not too sure about that being told by a woman. Theresa May does the Safeguarding Children's Act, so it's women and children that you don't like. How many of you would slate a Nazi party for this? And I mean, not even Hitler was this bad, was he? Because what's the difference between him doing it to the Jews and you doing it to your very own people that support you and prop you up? What is the difference? You have become the modern day Nazis to the people. That's what it is. How is that acceptable? I don't think it is. This is a disgrace. Where's the vote? Where's the vote? Said that we wanted this. And the NHS are held by a contract. But they won't tell me where it comes from. And then when I research it, government is written all over it. Once again, the government meddling in something. And they'll say, oh, it's COVID, oh, it's this, oh, it's... No, it's got nothing to do with it. This was going on before COVID. It was when you Tories came to power. This all started. I could get a dentist before that. My teeth were looked after. And soon as you came to power, you started meddling with it. Reformed the benefits system. Reform this, reform that, reform this. But have you ever reformed a prison? No? Do you know how much prisoners take up in taxpayers' money? And you know what it will be, won't you? This is how it goes. You get all of the working people to go against the people who are not working. Then the working people set the price for benefits to virtually non-existent. And then when you've replaced the people with robots, you put them in this same category, and then the working people will realise what they had done. And then it's tough. It's tough shit. What happens to our militaries when you decide to replace them with robots? What happens to them? Same cesspit will it be? Where you've got all of your robots that build other robots, that look after land, that make all of your food. And the Scrooge movie is hidden plain in sight. This is some fucked up shit, really, isn't it? Is this really how it's going? It feels it to me. I feel it. And then whilst we're fucking everything up here, let's distract ourselves with this constant negative news that we've got. Constant negativity. My word. Over what? What is this for? No, because the people are starting to find things out, aren't they? They're starting to really wake up to this, aren't they? And the one thing I do agree, if it were your children out there in battle, if it was you taking on all of these battles, if it was you doing it, we wouldn't have war. You wouldn't have it. I agree. Hand on my heart, I agree. This is exactly what it is, isn't it? And when others that you don't care about are expendable, that's how it works, isn't it? It's a disgusting type of a world. But it's not for long. It is going to change. I feel that. This is going to change. Either with you, or we're going to do it against you. One way or another, I seek solidarity from others that will stand unitedly with each human being across the planet. And we stand up. Not for death, not for carnage. No, no, no. We're going out. We're going out to find our fuels. We're going out to get to space. We are going to do the unthinkable. Because that's what happens. Look through your history. When the Egyptians got together, when the Mayans got together, look at the beautiful things that they could do. Nowadays, there is none of this. Why? Because we're too busy blowing each other up. We're too busy arguing with each other that one side's better than the other. And war's about winning and losing. And therefore, if you win, you're right, and if you lose, you're wrong. What? Damn, damn, damn. Interesting. So, you know, we hear about you saying that God put you in power. Really? Really? Because from my reckoning, God put us all in power then, didn't he? He didn't want us to be carbon copies of one another. He wanted us to be different. But also be able to work together with our differences. That's hard to do. Gotta leave this one here. I think I've covered most of it, give or take. And I've tried to keep my tone as nice as possible. Politics.